So, hi everybody and welcome back. This is our Unreal Engine 5 tutorial series for absolute beginners. This is video 71 and in this video we are talking about function libraries. Function libraries are a blueprint class which can help you to get rid of all-time casting a node which you all-time need in many places. So, what I mean with that is, for example, this player character. Let's say the player character I need in many places, or the player controller I need in many places, and I don't want to go in every blueprint and then try to cast it to this player controller or to player character or to the game mode. So in these cases you can create something like a function library. Let's do this here. I go here to my game folder, right click, click a new folder, call it function library, and then I set also here the base color to my base color so I can distinguish this from the other one. Then I open it and then here right click in functions library and we go this time to the blueprint section, and you can see we have here some options, blueprint options. And the option which we need here is blueprint function library. We click on it and I call this FL for function library underscore and then basic getter. For example, I will get some castings automatically here in this function library. So with that said, we save this all, we open this, and now we have here this window on the left side. We see here the blueprints. We have the options to create functions here and some local variables, and on the right side we have the details panel. That's it. The first thing what you see here is already a function which is called new function, and let's rename this on the right side by clicking on it, or F2 and or rename, and let's call this FL for function library. So we know this function will be a function library called underscore, and then I write get underscore let's say player character, yes, the player character. I want not cast it all time in all places. The player character, I want just cast it one time here and then use it all time. This function library node, which we can use later in all blueprints. So how we get this? Just normal cast to our player character. What we do is cast to to player character. In my case, it's the Infinitive Warrior. So cast to BP Infinitive Warrior. This is my player character. And then here again, object get player character. This one works for single player because it is index 0 here. And then we make this one. And from here we add just one more thing, a return node. You can write return. And then on the bottom you can see add return node. This is the return node of a function. And we need now some information here on the return node, and you can see, you can press compile and save first, and you can see we can add inputs or the outputs. The input would go here to the input side. The output would go more to the output side, which is the return node. But instead of manually doing this, you can use also this little handy trick. You can just drag out from this pin and hover over this node, and then you see we can just drop it here and it's creating our output from this one, because we wanted a reference for this player character. It's very handy, but if that's not working, you just can click here plus, and of course you can get this value manually here too. It's a little bit more work. Then you have to find this reference type and assign it a name. In my case, I use this handy trick, just hover over it, and you see this is similar to our normal cast, right? And when we do this, compile and save, and that's actually it for our function library to get the character to our player character. So how we are using this one? Okay, we have created this one, very nice. We have it in our folder, but how we are using this one? For example, let's open up our game mode, open this one up, and you can see the game mode here as only this get player character and then cast BP Infinitive Warrior, and as BP infinitive Fourier, for example. And I said, now we can just get rid of this and actually rid of this too. Let's say we have this one, and now I can use our function library, and I just right click here and I write FL and then my get player character. This is this function library, get player character, and you can see you have just one node now. It's a little bit easier, and then you can promote this one still to a variable. And you see right now we will use only this little node, and this function library node we can call now in every blueprint, not only gameplay, every place we want. We need a player character. For example, I open up now this enemy blueprint, and probably I have here get player character too. You can see we have here it as well. Instead of this one, I could just click here, get FL player character. So instead this one, I just could use this one. It's now easier. And now I can connect this one here, and here was something target actor. And you see the code becomes a little bit smaller, easier, and we don't have all time to cast. Of course, this getter, what I made here, is very small. This is not very big here, but of course you can get here other function which is much longer, which saves you a lot of work, because these are anyway only 2 nodes here. It's not too long, but if you have here a very long node, a function which you don't want to call all time in other places several times and recreate it, a function library node is much easier, one time created and all time used. That's very handy. So that was about this function library, and of course we could make here, for example, very handy nodes are, for example, let me show you the game mode, for example. Then you can write here FL get game mode as an example. Also the game controller, player controller, FL get player controller, and so on. And you see these are very commonly used called functions which you use, and you can add how many functions you want, which is very long, and where you don't want use it all time again and also recreate it all time again and again. Okay, I think that's it for this video. This is, of course, you have now code this section here, but I think you get the idea that we are just doing here, replacing the code from the other place in this place. So with that said, I stop this video, and if you have any questions like all time, write it in the comments, and if not, see you in the next. Bye.